Hundreds of thousands of Aussies are already living a rental nightmare. Today, new figures show that's going to get much worse, with a predicted 100,000 home shortfall by 2027. The worst hit cities, Sydney and Brisbane, facing shortages of 10 and 12,000 houses respectively.
This is really bad news for tenants, given how tight rental markets are. So it's definitely those on the lowest incomes in the cheapest rental markets, which are probably at most risk into the coming years as well.
A lack of available land, soaring immigration and long lead times for new builds and high construction costs, all to blame, as construction companies collapse at nearly double the pace of last year.
Construction in Limbo, Victorian families left with half-finished houses.
The high-profile company has gone bust.
The dreams of hundreds of Queenslanders have been dashed.
Lloyd Group and Porter Davis, the latest in a 1,500-strong line to go under in the past 10 months alone.
A lot of builders created these fixed cost kind of contracts in a period where the cost of materials was rising and the availability of labour was declining. So that's created a lot of pressure on margins. That whole situation has been compounded by higher interest rates.
Thinking that we were going to be in a new house in a couple of months' time, that would work years for. Now we're just not sure what the future holds financially.
Daniel Reid and his wife Meg are among 1,700 Porter Davis customers in Limbo.
This is the biggest punch in the guts. We're just finding it really hard mentally to keep getting up and going and just trying to do whatever we can to fix this situation.
Experts say without a change to the way builders are paid, we're headed for widespread collapse in what would be a catastrophe for the housing crisis and for everyday Aussies who can't catch a break.
When this happens, it just turns your world upside down. All we try to do is work hard to better our situation, and it's unbelievable really.
Joel Paddy and Beth McLaughlin put a $97,000 deposit down on a new build with Porter Davis in early 2020, and they've been left with just a concrete slab. They join us now. Beth, how did you find out that the company had actually gone under?
I actually got an article from a friend and forwarded that article to a friend that I know that worked for Porter Davis. And she had just found out that morning that they'd went under and was absolutely shattered. She had no idea. She was left blindsided. So I was very emotional about it. And then I eventually got the email that they'd gone into liquidation.
How did that make you feel, getting that confirmation email that your dream was gone?
Completely shattered, very upset, very emotional. Didn't know what to do.
I'm so sorry that you guys are going through this.
Yeah.
$97,000, that is a lot of money. Do you think you'll get your deposit back?
Yeah, from what we've been reading and looking into, so through VMIA, we should get at least 20% of the total build back. And then through DBI, we should get the total deposit back as well. So we're in a pretty, fortunate position to maybe some other people, but yeah, still hurts.
Beth, because you found out via this article, does that mean that you had to call Joel and tell him?
Yes, and he was at work.
Yeah, I did
He's
see
a teacher.
on
And
Facebook.
how was that conversation breaking that to him?
He had to leave work, basically, because I, as people have seen on TikTok, was very emotional because it just puts everything up in the air, and everything we've worked so hard for is just shattered in front of our eyes, really.
And so, I mean, it's great news that you might be able to get the money that you put in, the deposit back, but you're still left with nothing for all of your efforts. What are you going to do now?
It's going to be a timely process, but eventually I'm sure we'll be able to get someone to take over the build, or, yeah, just again, going to have to wait and see.
I mean, part of the backdrop to this is that construction companies seem to be falling over, right? And so I just wonder, how much confidence do you take into this? How can you be sure you pick a builder and they don't become the next one that falls over?
Well, I would want to go with a smaller builder this time, but it's a sticky situation. How do we sell a land with a slab on it for the price that it's worth, and we can't afford a home what they're worth these days. We're trying to be optimistic, but it's really hard to stay optimistic after what we've had happen. Yeah, again, just see what happens. how things go.
You're both doing remarkably well after going through such hell. Beth and Joel, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
No worries.
Thank you for having us.
Nice to talk to you all.